Sharing live stream. Yay! Oh my gosh, it worked. Facebook worked today and Zoom, and it likes Zoom today because you never know if Zoom and Facebook are friends on any given day. They might not be friends. How many of y'all know that, right? Sometimes they're friends, sometimes they're not. And today you all are in for such a treat. Oh my gosh, I'm getting this pulled up to make sure that we're on here. We're going to give everybody a chance to jump on. Yay! Today is we are on with the woman who started it all to get Sparkle going again. And if you will, put in the comments, let's see who's the first one on here. So I know a lot of y'all love to jump on. Last week we had, I don't know, 200 or 300 that were on live, which we're excited for. So if you will, drop your name in there, where you're from. And I hope that y'all are excited about erasing and replacing that dream and the way that it comes together. That my prayer today is with Amber and I. My greatest prayer is that you're going to be able to pray about your dream life with your hand open, because a pivoted dream is so much more powerful than one that you control. And that's really the basis of what we're going to be talking about today. Hi, Suzanne. Hi, Samay. Hi, Jamie. If y'all will type in where you're at. Yay. Hi, Christina. So glad that you are joining us. And this has been so fun. I was talking to my girlfriend, Lene Tate. Her and her husband, Johnji, are also foster parents. And I've been going through that journey with them and just being a prayer warrior. And they just started a new facility, Amber, very similar to what we do at Crosspoint, with our Dream Center. They just got a brand new center there in Bedford, Virginia.
Yay!
So they're figuring out how to serve there. God just worked out
I love that.
just amazing things there. So if you're there in the Bedford, Virginia area, reach out to Lene and find out how you can volunteer or pray or donate, whatever we need to do there. So yay. So great. Hi, Jamie. Hi, Mary Beth. Y'all keep on joining us. Again, want to give everybody a few minutes to jump on. And for a lot of y'all, you may know that I did Sparkle about, I don't know, 5 years ago. And I did it for a couple of years. I did it every Wednesday and we just had a great time. And, there just came a time whenever I'm just like, this is not where I need to work. At that time, I knew it was the time that I needed to go even to a higher level of activity with my Mary Kay, because, I'm not getting any younger. We retire at 65. And so I was getting closer to that. And I just knew that I had made promises to Mary Kay and to my family and to my the people that I mentor of the 5 Offspring National Sales Directors that I wanted to have the privilege of mentoring. So I shut this down, and I would occasionally post there, and there's about 5,600 of y'all that stayed loyal. Kind of follow me, not knowing where I'm going, because I don't know where I'm going. And at the beginning of 2023, I started a program up called Legacy Changers. And y'all have met some of these legacy changers already. And the first people that I talked to was Amber Westerman. And Amber and I, we serve at church together. Her husband works at the church that we're at. We were part of a group called Lion Chasers. And it was about 5 years ago that we sat down and went through the book, Lion Chaser by Mark Batterson, who happens to be my favorite author. And we, for about 18 months, Wesley and Margaret Cole and Nikki was there and Brandy was there. We saw full circle Brandy there, broken, single, praying for her husband. And this past Saturday, we got to go and dedicate her new baby, her and her husband. And let's see, who else was with us? Amber,
Hannah Johnson,
Hannah
Erica
Johnson.
Lampley.
Yes. And
Vicky, Esther,
of course, Wesley was there, and Esther. And so, so it's been so funny that we started out in this Lion Chaser group. And then if you look at all of us now, the things that we prayed about and hoped happened, but in none of our cases in the way that we thought.
Right.
That's all I'm
That's
going
so
to say
true.
about that, right? So the journey of us lion chasers has brought us to this point. So I'm going to be bringing in my lion chaser girlfriends because they have truly changed who I am. And let me introduce you first to Amber. And she looks like she's like 19, but you'll never believe this whenever I tell you all these things anyway. And but to just as I do that, so when Amber, whenever I was interviewing her for Legacy Changer, we were there for a while at House Blend. Shout out to Dixon House Blend. For a while. We just
Just
kept
moved
going
on
on. And,
in.
yeah, it was a while. And then we spent 30 minutes at the grocery store talking about some fun stories with your kids. Like nobody bought beans that day. We were over the beans. They tried to get to us, but we were so busy. So there we go. So Kroger's was down that day. And so whenever I left Amber getting the information for a Legacy Changer, I honestly can tell you where I was walking down downtown Dixon toward my car. And the Holy Spirit, as loud as any other time in my life, said, 5 lines is not enough for this story. And I started to cry. And I was just like so humbled. And then I was like, Lord, I don't really want to take on Sparkle because it's a lot, and I just am like, no, I don't really want to do that. How many of y'all have had that? Like, I don't really want to do that. And I'm telling I couldn't even sleep. And so because of the conversation with Amber, here we are. And we're going to be here until I feel that the Lord moves away. So this is my way to serve you with some of the most extraordinary women on the planet, women of astronomical faith, women who love so big when they could be so bitter, women whose lives are about serving other people, women, Amber, when you walk into the room, truly the energy changes. There is a light in the room. I love serving with you and your brother, seeing your brother on the stage. He was born to preach, and to watch
It's the
that
best.
calling come together. It has been an honor. We serve with students on Wednesday night. But Amber, how long have you and Aaron been married?
We have been married. It'll be 23 years this year.
Wow. Yeah, seriously, you look
Yeah.
23. That's so funny. And we're going to start with, and we will start with kind of how you kind of got to this place and kind of what you thought your life was going to look like. But she has got, they have got a daughter, or a son, Austin, and his beautiful bride, Brittany. Austin's 31, Sam and Addie, who are 10, Helen, who is 8, Amos, who is 7, Jordan, who is 12, Emily, who's 11, Kinley, who are 9, all foster kids. And then we said, how many pigs? Like, hold on, I have to show you this baby pig. So this is, let me pull this up here. So the other day we were trying to talk, but we couldn't because there was pigs being born, which was kind of funny. So there is that. I'll see if I can pull this up. It's so cute. We said, what do you do on your date? Y'all look at this. Look at this pig. This baby pig.
It's
So
our
you
new
said,
pick, Reba.
oh my gosh. So you said the kids line up the chairs and y'all just watch the pigs play. So that it raises healthier kids, right, when they're not on the
That's
internet.
right.
So
That's right.
Amber Westerman, thank you, thank you, thank you. And I am so excited. Let's start out. You were born and raised here in this area, right? Here in kind of,
Well, I was born
right,
in Florida, South
right.
Florida, and lived there until my teens. And then I
Yeah.
moved here in Dixon,
Yep.
the big town, Tennessee.
Woohoo!
Yay! And met my husband the first time when I was 13. He picked me up to get a snow cone when I was doing a car wash for the church youth group.
It's so sweet.
He had no interest at that time. He was just being a kind gentleman because he's 5 years older than me. So then in my senior year of high school, we met again and just fell in love and got married as soon as I graduated.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And so the dream that you had for your life looked like what?
Prior to Aaron, I had planned to go on to be a neonatologist. That had been my dream for years.
Yeah.
But things changed that year quite a bit.
Mm-hmm.
And I ended up going to school for special education
Mm-hmm.
because God had big different plans for our lives. And I never dreamed of getting married at 18, but I did, and it's working out pretty well.
Yep,
So
me too. I got Tom 2 weeks after I turned 18. So I've been with him since I was 18, but was married at like almost 20. So yeah, we were laughing about that. Like so anybody young, we are the exception, right? We are the exception with that for sure. And so let's talk about when you started to notice, like, here's where I believe my life is going. This is my dream life. And it started to pivot. So let's talk about that. And how did your walk with the Lord impact this seismic shift from here to here in your dream life?
okay. So our plan was 2 kids, as most people, the typical American family. But we went through about 10 years of losses. And I tried everything on the market, whatever it took to get pregnant. But unfortunately, that was not God's plan for our life. However, in the midst of that, my teenage cousin came to live with us, and we were able to raise him through all of that. And he's just, the absolute best. I couldn't have asked for a better teenager, honestly. He was so good. But we wanted more. We wanted more children to fill our home. We had this nice home that the Lord had blessed us with, and we had 2 empty bedrooms. And, of course, when you have a home with extra bedrooms, you get to decorate them, and it's fun for the guest room. However, God laid it on our heart that those were meant for children. They weren't meant for empty spaces. So some friends pushed us really hard and said, you've got to take these foster care classes. You got to take these foster care classes. And we said, there's just no way. There's no way we could ever do that. That is too hard. We could never let a kid go back to their parents. That's not for us. But her persistence got me there in the class. And we took the class. And again, when we got to the end of it and got our home study approved, we said, no, we're not doing this. This is not for us. Little did we know, 2 days after we finished the class, we'd get a phone call that said, hey, we have 2 babies that are sure adoption. Will you come get them? And we just had total peace. And instantly we both said, absolutely. We'll be there in 2 hours. Let us go gather diapers and all the things for a baby. Because most people have 9 months, but we had 2 hours. But we did it. We pulled it off. We got everything we needed. The Lord provided in big, huge ways. And that started off our journey.
Yeah. So when that started, we do talk a lot about, the things that, and we say this on Sparkle all the time, the thing that you say you are not going to do, I promise you the Lord is going to call your bluff, right? I mean, like, digging your heels in. I am not going to do that. I know it's a calling, but it's a confused calling. That there's no way that this is the calling for you. Now, before we kind of get to the other side of that, let's take a snapshot into the world of foster care right now. We know that right now in the United States, there's 391,000 children in foster care. That's unbelievable that you would have that many kids in foster care. And there is such a need for foster parents. And one of the things that Lene talked about this morning was that if you think about the foster care system as a river, right, that there are some people that are going to jump in the raft, right, and ride out that river, but that there's also along the banks that there are places where people can serve and to fill in, right, that they can, be a supplier of, what are some ways that if somebody's like, really, I don't have a desire to be a foster parent, but I would love to come alongside foster parents. What are some of the ways that people have come alongside you that has really made a difference in your journey or that you've seen?
Some of the best ways is we had a child that showed up in a pull-up that should have been in an infant-sized diaper and a t-shirt that was way too small, and that was it, in the middle of the night. And we were able to make a couple calls. And the next morning, I had clothes for a year for that little boy and diapers for about 6 months and formula on my porch, waiting for me when I woke up the next morning. They came in the middle of the night and showed up with everything we could have needed for him. And it was beautiful. And we just said, hey, pray for us. We have this new little boy. Tomorrow we're going shopping. And we didn't have to spend a dime on him. We were able to just focus on loving him and helping him work through that transition. Another way is friends have showed up with meals time and time again. Those first weeks especially are challenging as you're learning to bond with each other. The kids just went through major trauma and being removed from their parents. And so rather than spending 4 hours in the kitchen cooking, you could spend that time pouring into them and loving on them and helping them get the things that they need or get in schools or what have you. So just simply dropping a meal off, and it doesn't have to be homemade. It can be a pizza delivered. You can DoorDash it. Anything like that is super helpful. Our church does this wonderful program called the WRAP team. And so they find members in our community that are fostering to just wrap around. Yeah. So if their washing machine goes out, we show up and we help them with that. If they're too busy to mow their lawn, we make sure that their lawn gets mowed. Or just whatever their needs may be. Do they need extra diapers or things difficult? They need a night out. We're going to provide childcare for a night for a parents' night out. So those are all like simple things that really don't take a lot of your time or effort. Most of us can afford to feed a family one night a month extra. And so just sending that out, it can be a huge, huge blessing.
Mm. You know, I think about those of us, and we've got, this is not a Mary Kay event. You know, there's a lot of my Mary Kay family on here, but I just think about for those of us who are in business, you know, what if we said, you know, I would donate X amount to, you know, boots on the ground, not to an organization, but, you know, to be able to find out. So if somebody wanted to find out, maybe of course you could ask, who do you know that's in foster care, but where would somebody find like a list, maybe become part of like a WRAP group like that? How would somebody connect if they wanted to help?
Well, I mean, I would first start with your local churches and see who they know and what they already have going to join, rather than starting a new program. Find out what's established in your community. Our community has the Dream Center that Diana mentioned earlier, where children can come in and they can have visits with their family in a safe location that's been created more like a home rather than going to a McDonald's for 4 hours. They have couch and a table and a little kitchenette, or children that are brought into custody and they've yet to find a placement. We have a bunk room and a second bedroom with a full bathroom in there that they can stay there while their caseworkers search out a home placement. And so one way you could partner is finding an organization such as that and calling DCS or whoever's over that and saying, hey, here's my phone number. If you have a kid comes in that they have a need, give me a call. Yep. In fact, today I got a call for an alarm clock. They didn't have an alarm clock. It's just like, can you pick one up? You know, that's like $20. I'm on it. Yeah. That's not a problem. That's an easy fix. Or maybe they, they're tired of like the frozen foods that are in the freezer. They're available for them. Just saying, hey, once a week, can I pop in and bring a warm meal to whatever child's spending the night there that night, so they can have something that feels a little bit more like home.
Yeah. You know what I love is that in everything that you're talking about is freeing up those that are called to be in the battle from the gnats of life. Food, laundry. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, right. that some of those best moments with these kids happen when you can be present. But as a woman, we can't be present if all these other things are going on. So even if you're not called to be in foster care, how could you shoulder these other things and be around that? It is such an honor to be a part of that. That is for sure. And so what I would love to do is kind of jump to kind of the other side of this. And that is one of the things you said this morning. I want to talk about how you keep such a great marriage. Amber and Aaron have got one of the most passionate, fun, happy marriages ever. But one of the things that you said this morning that I thought was great, after going through all of the journey of, by the way, those two kids did not get adopted, and then going through the years of being able to truly be able to adopt the amazing children that you are able to raise now. You put in there, and it was from the Bible study Rooted. And do you want to kind of share about that? Because, I
Yeah.
think as we look at kind of the yuck of what's going on here, that there is a wow on the other side of it that you weren't even expecting. So let's kind of talk about that, of why is it worth it to go through these uncomfortable times to get to the joy.
Absolutely. So I'm just going to read it so I don't misquote it. But in the book, Read It, it says, strength of character produces joyful, confident hope. This is not the same as a life of comfort, but your comfort isn't God's goal for your life. Changing you into a person of great character, someone who is spiritually like his son, is his plan for your life. And then a verse I like that kind of goes with that is James 1, 2 through 4. It says, consider it pure joy, my brothers and sisters, whenever you face trials of many kinds, because you know that the testing of your faith produces perseverance. Let perseverance finish its work so that you may mature and complete, not lacking anything. Our children, I mentioned before, they come from trauma and trials and tribulations. And so they have some baggage. And that comes out sometimes at the dinner table, or that comes out when it's time to get dressed and they don't want to wear what you have picked out. And it's not about the clothes, it's not about the food, but it's about the trauma that they have experienced. And when they bring trauma into a room, especially like we have 4 children in our home that we've adopted every day. And then some days we have 3 bonus kids that are here as well. And when any one of them walk into the room with their trauma exploding all over the place, it doesn't just affect them, it affects everyone around them. So, as the parent and the leader in that situation, it is challenging. But if we can push through it and we can walk with them and teach them how to overcome it, they can see that it affects more than themselves, which I think everyone has trauma. Everybody can learn from that. It affects more than yourself, but they're not alone.
Mhm.
They have somebody to walk through it. And there's something so beautiful about seeing them catch that and get that, and seeing that peace and that joy come out of them when they triumphantly walk through it and get to the other side of it. And then there's those moments around the table where everybody's singing and everybody's dancing and everybody's laughing. And that's where the real beauty is that you've built that bond. You have to get through that trial before they can build that bond with you. And once that bond's there, it's just joyful.
It
It's
is,
joyful.
and you think about, you're on, your 3rd and 4th layers of foster kids, now you're like
Mhm.
almost grandkids. You know what I'm saying? Like when you talk about a legacy
Yeah.
changer, that's really what you've done is you're teaching these kids. And I know a lot of us, what we don't realize is a lot of times, we write people off, or we demarginalize a group of people because they don't respond the way that you do. But I talk about this in the book, is that if you were raised like them and you experienced what they experienced, you would respond like them. Of course, you
Mhm.
would maybe not respond like that because you saw different things modeled. And what are some of the things that you and Aaron do to show your kids what does a healthy Christ-centered marriage look like? Because one of the things I love about you and Aaron is you both love Jesus. You all love
Mhm.
the Lord and you love each other and you love your kids. And I love that you love each other as a priority over your kids. Like you're not sacrificing your marriage. I remember my mom saying to me and my sister, look, let me make this perfectly clear. At 18, you're out of here. Number priorities, your dad is a higher priority than you are, right? I
Right.
love you, but you're going to be gone. And he is my priority. And I know in today's
Mhm.
world, that's just almost like, being a heretic saying that. But I
Right.
know that's why my parents were married 52 years. That's why Tom and I have been married 42 years. And I see you and Aaron do that. So what are some
Mhm.
things that y'all do? And you know where I want you to answer this, because it was
So
just
we
like,
dance in
oh
the
my gosh.
kitchen.
Yeah, so I'm in a pen, so just her you can see, but share this, what that these children get to see this every day. This is my favorite part.
So we dance in the kitchen together all the time, every day, multiple times a day. They get to see us hugging and loving on each other. And lately, one of my little girls likes to sandwich in between us. And Aaron is really good about saying, no, I love you, but my wife comes first. I love her more. I will hug you and we will sandwich you, but don't push her out, you know. And just them hearing that as much as we love you, you're not the first priority.
Mhm.
We are, but I think being able to come before them with a united front is crucial too, that they see that we are a unit and we are not separate. There's no going to him for one thing and me to another. It's, you know, we come together and we talk about things. So there's no point of even
Right.
trying that.
Yeah.
But they see us laugh together. They see us play together. They see us make goals together and work hard together.
Yeah.
And I think that's important for them to learn that a marriage is not full of fighting and bickering and each person serving their own needs, but we're a family unit and we work together in all aspects.
Yeah. So that is so true. Brandy is on by one of our little lion
Mm-hmm.
chasers. Brandy
Mm-hmm.
was the one. So if y'all want to say hi to Brandy on
Mm-hmm.
there, we'll see
Hi,
who else is on
Brandy.
here. Yeah. So we got to go to her baby dedication for Miss Everly, for her and Calvin. I mean, what an answer to prayer on that. I got a couple more questions and then we'll wrap up here. But so here's for people that are out there, like, okay, so if we come off of the parent thing, if we come off of the foster care thing, you know, there was a couple questions I asked you in Legacy Changer, but this
Mm-hmm.
one is just really on my heart right now is your life again, your dream life, you thought was going to look such a different way.
Yeah.
How did you handle choosing joy over bitterness and
Yeah.
allowing your family to be enough? Like when I see people that go through a lot with, you know, dynamics, maybe the family dynamic is different. They're so busy wishing for something else that they don't appreciate or value what they do have. And the people that they do have feel like they're not enough. So then they're pushing away
Mm-hmm.
what they do have. Do you kind of follow where I'm going with that?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep.
And
And it
so
is
can
a
you kind of speak
challenge.
to that? Oh, I bet. I would think
It is
so.
absolutely a challenge all the time. Something that I have to work through in my mind of God gave me this plan
Yeah.
and his purpose is so much greater than my purpose. And I think about, I have to look back to where the path I was taking and the feelings that I had during my efforts to get to
Mhm.
where I wanted to go. It was a lonely time. It was boring. And
Mhm.
I think about where I'm at now, and it's never, ever boring.
Yeah.
It's always thrilling and exciting and changing and challenging in a good way. You know, it's pushing me to be better all the
Mhm.
time. And so just living in this moment, not this day, this moment. I always say we have to have breath prayers where just like as often as I'm breathing, I'm praying and I'm asking the Lord to help me. Because one, in my situation, raising all these children, it's not easy. And I have a tendency to be a little OCD about things, and you can't be that way with a bunch of children. So the Lord kind of has a little humor there, I think, and giving me all these artistic, crafty children that like to create their own spaces and not just my creativity. Um, so all that to say, just breath prayers, constantly asking the Lord to guide me through it, but seeing the bigger picture
Mhm. Yeah.
and where I've come from and where we're going and my hopes and goals for the future and what I have right now.
Mm. So good.
So,
Yeah, that was one of the things we talked about whenever we were doing your legacy changer. You know, I asked you, how do you stay peaceful? And you said breath prayers. Um, you know, like, and I love how you even said on here, Lord, help me to respond. Show me my next step. What's for dinner? Like, I just love that you just lean into the Lord when you're feeling so pulled in so many directions. And then you said on here, and if you can kind of speak into this, that you just know that the Lord is going to direct you, that you're just going along for the ride. You also said in there, I'm not driving this boat. You are
mm-hmm.
you are an alpha female type A girl. Like to live in that, like Can you kind of speak to that? Because, though, I mean, like sometimes I'm like, Lord, you've made me this way, yeah, he did, but I can't serve him when I'm trying to control it. So could you give some advice, maybe a little bit more advice?
Yeah.
How do you?
So yesterday, I'll give an example. Yesterday was just a really rough day. I came in, I started to clean one room, and a fight breaks out in the next room. And so I go in there, and while I'm dealing with that, I go back to the room I'm in, and then there's crumbs all over the floor that I just cleaned. And so my like obsessiveness is going into a little panic mode. My blood pressure's shooting through the roof. Okay, you just take those breaths and you're like, Lord, you got to help me. I'm not going to make it through this if you don't. But yes, like God created me this way because in order to be able to advocate for my children's needs, they have special needs. I have to be type A. I have to be willing to study and willing to get in there and fight for them and do those things and have all my dots and all my ducks in a row and all my T's crossed and I's dotted. And so that's why God gave me that. Unfortunately, he also likes us to be humble and realize that he's taking control here. You can't just let it run and be wild. So that's how, it's a struggle. It's a constant struggle, but the Lord uses it for the right reasons, and he gives you those characters for a purpose.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, I think that's so cool because you were wired that way. But there are times whenever it doesn't serve us to operate in that all the time. And I think, we live in a world, and, prayerfully, that's why y'all are hanging out with us on Sparkle, is to learn how, that when you need to turn that on and turn that off, that there was this calling. And so the question that I asked you was, what advice would you give your younger self? Right. So these are our questions. Like, what advice would you give your younger self?
Don't get so stuck on your plans. You're not in control. Our life is full of the pivots, the twists, the turns, the ups and the downs, like a roller coaster. You're flying on it. But God's plan is better. It's more thrilling. And even with those ups and downs, it keeps it exciting. It keeps you growing and changing and moving. So just hang on for the ride and just trust that he's got you. He's got good things planned for you.
Yeah, so good. So good. And I know we've kind of talked a little bit, but like, what advice would you give to a woman who is like, you know what? Oof, I really am being called into helping with foster care. What I don't know what that looks like, but what advice would you give either to someone that's in foster care or a mom of multiples, right? I mean, basically, you've got 7, 8, 9 kids grown to little. What advice would you give them?
So I'm going to give you my scripture that has just been like what's been on my heart this entire past year. It's Psalms 32:8. The Lord says, I will guide you along the best pathway for your life. I will advise you and I will watch over you. And also 1 Peter 5:7. Give all your worries and cares to God, for he cares about you. I think when we are able to put our trust in the Lord and trust that he has good things for us, and know that we are seeking his will, we are seeking his direction, that he promises when we seek him, he will help us. And so take that breath, take that step of faith and pray, and the Lord will give you peace. If it's the right, we got phone calls that we had to say no to. And man, it tore me up, but I did not have a peace about it. And then we got phone calls for children that I wouldn't have thought I would have said yes to because it seemed a little crazy. At one point we had 6 babies in our arms, literally. But the Lord gave us peace. And I'll tell you, those are my favorite memories of my life, is having 6 babies in my arms and how fun it was. Who would say that? Only if the Lord's calling you to it.
Not me.
only if the Lord is calling you to it. So
well, I just always
Lord
remember. Oh, I'm sorry. Absolutely. And I just remember, remember when we used to meet at the high school for church, and y'all would come in, we'd be like, Westermans are coming. Like we would be grabbing, everybody grabbed a kid, like when they were little, like in the umbrellas, if the weather was bad. Like it was truly a village, and now to watch your kids, like they do that for other kids, it's been so fun to kind of work through that. And we've got a lot of people that are on here. I would love if y'all will just to kind of type in some things that that you've loved, that you've heard, that your heart is convicted on. I'd love to be able to share that. And now I have my final question. This is my new one. Thank you, Dave Van Mall and Candy Brown, for this question. Is what is something that people told you you could never do that you did?
Hmm. I've heard a lot. You cannot save all the children. And I can't save all the children, but I can that next one. That next one. And the Lord has given me opportunity now to sit on the foster care review board. So even though our home is now officially closed and we can't take more because we have a lot of children and we're at capacity here.
Yeah.
I still get to speak into situations and give advice to the judge, which is something I never thought I'd be able to do. Well, you're never going to be able to change laws. You're never going to be able to have better decisions made than that. You just have to roll with the punches. That's not true. When you care about something, get involved. If you don't get involved, you can't make changes.
Right. And all of that prepared you. You just think
Mm-hmm.
about, there's no way that, had you not experienced all of that,
Right.
I think about you going through 10 miscarriages and all of that, like truly, like this was the pivoted prayer, right? That was the
Right.
trail of tears for you in
Mm-hmm.
some cases. And now to be on the side of this pivoted prayer that allows you to impact way more people than you had ever thought, in addition to those that you get to cover. And so that is so cool. Let me
Mm-hmm.
read you some of these as we wrap up. Rachel Shatney, I love how you understand about yourself, and you need to be type A, but you also need to ask for those breath of grace. What a beautiful program set up for assisting foster families. I think a lot of people on here are excited about getting started. Hey, Brandy, we got you on there too.
Mm-hmm.
There might be more on here, but I don't know that I'm smart enough to get past those comments. So you can go back and check those out. So Amber, thank you. Thank you. I pray that you all are excited and that you lean into the pivoted prayer. What does that look like? Like there is this place where we are called to serve. And this week, if you don't even know what your prayer is, go find somebody in this foster care world and find a way to be able to be a blessing. Because what Amber said when we got together before is what I love this is it's not about the children, it's about the generation. You need to help the parents. The kids will not accept your love if you don't love their parents. And so we've got to, who in our life do we need to love, although we don't agree with, that their choices may disgust us, but how do we, especially those of us who are followers of Christ, how do we show love without saying what you did is okay? Can you speak just, I'm sorry, I know I said that was the last question, but like, how does somebody do that? If this is the first time that they've not we live in, especially in our country, so divisive, I'm this, you're this, I'm this, you're right, we're wrong, you're this, especially right now, it is like that. But we were called, and I thought James Savage, our pastor, did go to crosspoint.tv, did one of the most amazing messages on love this past Sunday. So what does that look like? How do you love those parents when you're watching them just blow up their lives and blow up these kids' lives? Blow up, probably should say that on Facebook, but you know what I mean. Like,
Okay.
you know,
So, so here's what we have run into and seen happen is the parents will be a third generation of foster care. And they'll ask, when kids come into custody, the first thing they say is, who do you know that you can take care of your children while you work on some things? And a lot of these parents don't have anyone in their circle of influence, not one single person that can pass a background check. And they have never been taught they had never seen an example of what a healthy family looks like. Their parents have never seen an example of what a healthy family looks like. So walking beside them, allowing them to see stability, love, inviting them into your home, people that don't look like you, don't smell like you, don't speak like you, inviting them into your home and giving them an opportunity to have somebody to look to that looks different, that can change the way they walk. We've been able to mentor one of our previous birth parents, and it has just been beautiful. And it's not us, it's just giving her an opportunity, but we've been able to see her soar just through having somebody to support her.
Yeah.
Not financially, just emotionally. Like, we're here for you. You got this. Encourage them, pray for them, tell them you're praying for them, and show them with actions what you're saying is true. Don't be fake. If they see that you're fake, they're not even going to listen or come near you. But if you show genuine care for somebody that's different than you, that's struggling, they're going to want to be more like you. They're going to be more stable, more loving. So,
well, let's end on that and
mm-hmm.
just think, Sparkle Sisters, what if every one of us found a place to just go do that, to just choose to love, to choose to be an example, to find a way, to show more patience, to show more grace, to find a family that we could get underneath and, just where can we serve the greatest? Together, we are truly too blessed to be stressed, too anointed to be disappointed, too equipped to be whipped. Y'all have a miracle-filled week. Welcome back. Next week, we'll be finishing up chapter 3. Amber, unbelievable. I am so challenged to stop in my tracks and go find ways to be able to serve financially, spiritually, emotionally, come beside people, to quit looking at all of these other things, but let's go serve. You are amazing. And mostly thank you for being my friend and spiritual mentor. I love you so much.
Thank you. I love you. Thanks for having me on here.
Oh, you are welcome.